Hello, I'm Black Braids. Black Braids. I'm Black Bright. Also doing videos under dark shades now. I've decided to put my relationship videos under dark shades, counselling, and then do my political issues under Black Bright. So I hope it doesn't confuse you. What I'm going to do is a poster so that you will at least know when I'm doing these, so you know to go to dark shades. Okay, what I wanted to talk about is timing with regard to relationships. Why do some relationships work and some don't? And it occurred to me that it has to do with timing. You know, they have this saying that everything in its time. And I don't know how many of you saw Sliding Doors with Gwyneth Paltrow, John Hannah, where she missed a train, and because she missed a train, she ended up talking to this guy on a train and missed the fact that her partner was having an affair. And then they showed you the scenario where she hadn't missed a train and she'd gone home and found the partner in the flat with someone else. So it was those kind of two events. But in both events, she still ended up meeting the same guy that she met on the train that she ended up with. What I'm trying to say to you is a lot of our relationships about timing. Sometimes we think relationships endure and last the length of time because, oh, you just happened to meet, you just happened to have chemistry, and boom, that was it. But sometimes it's merely because of timing. The fact that when that person met you, that person was a whole person, that person didn't have too much baggage, that person didn't have too much trauma, and neither did the person who was being introduced to each other. So therefore, it was perfect, it was fertile ground for a solid relationship. Now, you can get relationships where you think you're meant to be together, but because of past circumstances, past experiences, trauma, disappointment, betrayal, it's not the right time. And a perfect example is if if you've just ended a relationship. Suppose you ended a relationship in, say, January, and somebody's trying to chat you up in February, your mind isn't going to be receptive and they are not going to get the right response from you. You know, because you're still kind of feeling whether or not you still like the person, whether you don't, whether you're trying to get your head together, where you're trying to sort your thoughts out. You're not in the right frame of mind for a relationship. So when anybody comes in, regardless of how wonderful they are, you're going to reject them because you're going to think, I'm not there. I don't want it. It's not what I want. Now, supposing that same person comes to you, say about 6 months down the line, you're going to be more receptive, providing that person also has gone through a healing process and you both happen to meet at the same time. Sometimes they call it soulmate, sometimes they call it whatever they want to call it. But the fact of the matter is, it's about timing. It's about meeting people at the right time on fertile ground for relationships. That's why you should never ever say, I'm not going to meet somebody. Oh, everybody is the same. And you have some people, they get so despondent. They walk around, what they call a flat arse, that, no smile, nothing. They're just miserable when, if they take themselves out of their comfort zone, if they decide to take a train or take a bus instead of driving, where you drive, you can't meet anyone, it might be the perfect timing. Even if you change a supermarket, instead of going to Tesco's or Sainsbury's, you go to Budgeons, or you go to Waitrose, or you go to Morrison's. Even that could make a difference. Also, being more receptive, not taking rejection so personally. Like I said, it could do with timing. If somebody called me up last year and they said, look, I fancy it, I want to go out with you or whatever, I wouldn't have been in the right frame of mind and I would have given them a blank no. I'm not ready. I don't want anybody. I want to live on my own. I'm quite happy how I am, and all that kind of garbage. When really it's just poor timing. So you do not know when the right time is. You'll know within yourself whether you feel a bit more confident, you feel a bit more resilient, you're not going to take offense too easily. Because sometimes, I will say back in the olden days, but when a man used to approach a woman back in the olden days, if that woman's told him to get lost, he would persist and persist and persist until he got her. Sometimes it wasn't like now. If a man says, oh yeah, I like you, and you say no, I'm not interested, they're gone. So there's something in the fact that either that man isn't really interested in that woman, or there's something in the makeup of the individual, why that person is so bruised and damaged, why he doesn't want to persist and doesn't feel as though he's worthy of that person, or he might think that it's just not worth the effort, so he doesn't persist. So you do have certain relationships where back in the olden days um, if a man liked a woman and she rejected him, then he would just keep going for it. And then you have the people who have fragile egos where they don't. And you have women who have been hurt, who have been betrayed, and they can be quite obnoxious. So then too, they don't make it very favorable. But there's something about a smile, about having, laughing at yourself, being light-hearted, having a sense of humor. I mean, even if you was to go to the supermarket and you were looking in someone's basket and they look as though they may be alone, you can tell because maybe they've only got a little small loaf of bread, or they might have 2 bananas, or there's some indicators when you're looking in a shopping basket that somebody is alone. And then you might see a bottle of wine. And in these situations, you don't even have to fancy anyone. It could just be to build your confidence, to build your, if she says no, you don't really care because you don't fancy her. But it could be something beneficial for you to break the ice. So you see her with, these little, 2 tomatoes, 1 banana or whatever, small tin of canned milk, and she has a bottle of wine in there. You could say, oh, I wish a lucky person who's drinking that bottle of wine with you tonight. Something like that. She might even say, it's not mine, I'm buying it for a friend. Or she might even say, I'm having it with my husband tonight. Or, I'm having some friends around. It doesn't matter. It's about building up your confidence, stepping out of your comfort zone, approaching people you wouldn't normally approach. Yes, I admit it's difficult during COVID, but even COVID, because with masks, you can't even see people smiling anymore. You can't tell a grouchy face from a happy face because those masks off your expression. So it might not, but you can still speak in a friendly way. You can be warm, and you can just use it as a practice field. You know, just start talking to people. So where am I going with this? Yeah, where I was going with this is timing. It might just be the right time when you speak to that woman about the wine. You might not even fancy her, but she might say, oh, what are you doing tonight? Do you fancy coming and having a drink with me? You might not fancy it, but you just don't know, because with men, they're very visual. I find that they're very visual, and all visuals are different, but they're more likely to diss somebody that they're not attracted to instead of getting to know people, which could then be a springboard for them meeting somebody who they really like. So it's really important to step out of the comfort zone and try to talk to people you wouldn't ordinarily talk to, and take routes you wouldn't ordinarily take risks that you wouldn't normally take. So, like I said, so what was going on at the time you met? Like I said, that person could be going through disappointment or betrayal, but they could have just as well won the lottery. They could have just as well got a new job and feel in such good spirits that when you meet them, it's just the perfect timing. Sometimes you can be on a train and you can see somebody and they're there looking at you, and I don't see nothing wrong in smiling. If that guy thinks I want a fancy, and that's tough, but I don't see anything wrong with responding to people. And once they start talking to you, you can let them know whether or not you're in a relationship, whether or not you're interested or you're not interested. But the fact of the matter is, you're building up conversations. I'm not going to be one of those people who are going to just push you off and reject you flat out and make you feel like shit. No, I'm not doing that. But at the same token, I don't see nothing wrong in having a conversation, learning about somebody or whatever. But I think a lot of men back in the day, I remember when we used to go to a dance, we would kind of do this eye contact thing. And the man could be way, way across the room, but you like him or you fancy him and you just make this eye contact. And then sooner or later, he comes in your direction. Next thing you know, you're holding a dance. That, I don't know. I don't think that works these days. Number one, it's usually too dark. Number two, people are too fragile, and the man wants to make sure, just in case he walks away all the way across the dance floor and she rejects him. So men are much more conscious about being rejected, much more sensitive about being rejected these days, as opposed to when they were before, where they would just literally loiter around and wait until they got on your nerves until you say, okay, I'll give you one dance, and then you might give them one dance, you might end up dancing with them the whole night if they dance good. So, like I said, it's about building up your resilience and it's about timing. Don't take relationship breakdowns personally. A lot of people, they take breakdowns personally. It's nothing personal. It's just timing a lot of the time. You met the wrong person at the right time, or you met the right person at the wrong time, or it was the wrong time for both of you. And then when you click, it just means it's the right time for both of you. You just happen to meet at that time when you are in that frame of mind where you're receptive. That person is the frame of mind where he is open and giving and he hasn't got any hang-ups. He's willing to make himself vulnerable. The woman is willing to make herself vulnerable. The two of them are able to talk. They're not afraid of any past misgivings. They're not coming into the relationship with a lot of baggage. Because you can have baggage, but it doesn't have to weigh you down. You can have baggage and it can be quite light. Like the difference between putting a suitcase through one of those airport stall things and putting your overhead luggage. They're both luggage, but they weigh differently. And that's what a lot of people are carrying around. A lot of people are carrying around baggage. And every day it's getting heavier and heavier because they're not finding a way to release it. And they're getting more and more insular. They're getting more and more afraid as the days go by, as the weeks go by, as the months go by. They feel more and more insecure. They're afraid to go out into unknown territory. Because remember, the territory has even changed. Like I said the other day, you can't go to a dance and meet a woman. You're going to have to kind of think, how else am I going to meet a woman? Or women, how else am I going to meet a man? The territory has changed. This is only for those who want a relationship. But how else are we going to? But like I said, if the timing is right and you are in the right frame of mind, a lot of it's got to do with being in the right frame of mind. If you haven't reached a point where you're comfortable with yourself, where you're confident, where you're feeling really good about what you've done so far, good about where you are in life, it's no point going around and trying to find somebody else to join. Yeah, there's no point trying to find somebody else to join you in your misery. I know misery loves company, but that is not what you're looking for. You're looking for somebody who is as well assured, who is as confident, and who's in a satisfying place as you are. And once you find that person, you'll find that that is probably the right time to get things moving, to start talking, to be more accepting. And the thing is, as you get more confident, you're much more alert, you're much more aware, you're kind of more likely to dismiss things. You're not going to be so petty, you're not going to be so pedantic, you're not going to, every little thing that person does, you find something wrong with it. I was watching Bachelors in Paradise last night, and these two guys were kind of arguing over a woman. And just because one of the guys didn't behave in a certain way, she goes, oh, well, he's not my kind, he's not my type. And then the other one, the other guy was bawling his eyes out. And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry I couldn't be with you, blah, blah, blah. Oh, he's too emotional. Another person, I was listening to them talking about, oh, you haven't got the right shoes. Oh, that was dinner date. He goes, so what do you think about me? Oh, well, I'm a woman. I'm really into shoes. The thing is, I'm into shoes. That's the first thing I look at when I look at a man. But it's not going to make me write him off if he's got the wrong shoes, unless, of course, he's got some high platforms or they're really, really weird. I remember those white winkle pickers men used to wear. Oh, no, I ain't talking to nobody who's got them on. So, yeah, there are extremes. But all I'm talking about is, on this particular program, the guy's shoes were okay. And she was saying, oh, you wouldn't really wear those shoes when you're going out. For the whole of the lunch, the man felt so awkward, kept looking down at his shoes. So all I'm saying is that as you mature, as you grow in yourself, as you grow in love with yourself, you're more likely to be tolerant of yourself and therefore more tolerant with other people. And then you're more likely to take risks. You're more likely to be more accepting. You're more likely to be in the right place at the right time. And you're more likely to be able to accommodate other people, make time for people, because we're in a time now where nobody wants to make time for anyone. And it's so important to make quality time for people. Even if it's 20 minutes of quality time. You put your phones away, you talk. If you're having a drink, you have a drink. But you're not there, having a drink and then checking your phone every time it kicks off. If my phone goes off and my man is it, I don't even look at it. It doesn't matter. Whoever it is, it can wait. But it's about giving quality time to people. Regardless, it doesn't even have to be your partner. It could be a friend, but whoever chooses. And it has to be a mutual agreement. You have to both say, look, this is quality time. Let's turn our phones off so we can actually have a good conversation. I really want to catch up with you. I really want to spend time finding out what you've been doing, what you've been up to, and vice versa. And you have this dialogue. And when men and women do that, a lot of relationships are built on friendships. Sometimes it doesn't go beyond the friendship zone because you was too familiar with the person. But a lot of times it does. And I don't even see why, if you can be friends, why you can't be partners. But some people, oh, he's not my type. They put you in the friend zone. I never quite get that. If you're getting on. But, sometimes it's got to do with visual. Sometimes it's got to do, maybe it's some other, maybe they just don't fancy them. And that's what I'm saying. A lot of relationships are doomed because of this visual. You don't fancy it. I'm not saying you should quash your ideal or what you fancy. I'm not saying that. Some people are fortunate to meet somebody who they're actually attracted to. And that is great, but it doesn't mean that you dismiss everybody who you're not. It still means you can build friendships, and who knows where that will go. So all I really wanted to stress is that timing is more to do with whether or not relationships work, as opposed to your behaviour or that other person's behaviour or whatever has happened in life. If you've had an argument, bad parenting, you've been abused, whatever it is, all of those. Somebody could have been abused when they're young. Now they're in their 40s. They're fine. They've got over it. But if somebody met them in their 20s, they might still be recovering. And that wouldn't have been a good foundation for the relationship. So that's what I'm saying. Depending on the timing, when you meet, the frame of mind and all that kind of stuff. So I think I'm going to stop it there. Always carry a smile. Take risks, in summary. Go places you wouldn't normally go. Walk more often, at least while you're allowed to. There's no lockdown. Just walk around, take a bus, take a train. Go to different shops. Men don't normally go shopping. Go shopping, whatever it's for. And I'm not telling you to, stare. You have some people who are just looking for a partner and they're there glaring at people. I'm not talking about to come over like a stalker. I'm just saying, be light-hearted, friendly, warm, and confident. And that's all for now. Bye-bye.